Because I know Yonsei's private. Is Kondae a public university?
It's private.
Okay. Oh. I'm not too familiar. Well, I mean, it's really interesting because you lived in the dorms at the start of COVID, and you were not in the dorms.
I had just moved out.
You just moved out.
I literally moved out December, and January the COVID cases started in China.
So then, like, you know, I want to hear your experiences. Like, do you live near campus then?
I do. I live in like 15 minutes away.
Okay.
On foot.
Oh, so you're like almost across the street.
Exactly.
Basically. And so I want to hear his experiences. Like, what was it like in the dorms during COVID?
Ghost town.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, nobody came out. I mean, half the rooms were empty. So, and like, it was during the pandemic. They didn't want to go out, so they stayed in the dorms. It was quiet.
Horrible.
Yeah, horrible too.
So, like, you didn't have anyone being like, oh, who cares about COVID? Let's party in the dorms. It's half empty now. There's none of that?
None of that.
Wow.
I'm absolutely surprised because I'm like shocked. So
I mean, Korean dorms are not really like that anyways. As far as I know, you're not supposed to have parties, and strictly speaking, you're not supposed to have alcohol there either, but
yeah, there's a lot of rules at my university that were not supposed to happen in the dorms, and so
I'm talking about undergrad or
undergraduate.
Okay,
because I never lived in the dorms, as Yonsei, so I always lived on my own.
Because there are actually a few people who got expelled from SK Global from the dorms because they were drinking.
I mean, we have curfew in our dorms.
Oh, right.
What?
Yeah.
Korean dorms have curfews.
Oh, no, I knew SK Global did, but that's
SK
why
doesn't.
Oh, they don't. What was the other one of the houses on campus?
iHouse doesn't.
Okay. When I was at Yonsei, there was one of the dorms. They said, oh, you can do it, but you have a curfew or a guest limit. Something like you couldn't have guests over, or there's a curfew. I can't. That's why I never lived
We
in
have
dorms.
both, so only family guests and curfew. But like, if you want to stay out, there are only number of days you can stay out per month. Weekends are free, but weekdays you need to.
You need to tell someone that you're gonna be leaving for the certain amount of days. Yeah. Same in
we have an app.
So your dorm experiences, and what about, you know, basically living next to Yonsei at the start of the pandemic? Like, what was going on with that?
I feel like the first semester, like the first half of COVID, I feel like all I did was stay at home. I did go out sometimes to meet friends for like dinner or like go to a cafe, but it was very few and little that we did do that. The second half of COVID, like, we're like, no, we need to get out. This is bad. This is really, really bad. We actually went on a road trip. We went to Gyeongju. We went to the seaside, obviously always wearing our masks, like taking the whole safety precaution thingies, but it was more lax. Everyone was more relaxed. In terms of going to Shincheon and Hongdae, I never go to Hongdae. I'm not a big fan of the area, to be honest. It's not my scene. It's not my scene. It was significantly emptier. Like, you don't see as much people going out to drink anymore. You don't see as much people, like, even shopping. So even when I went shopping or just walking around the streets, it's a lot emptier. The introverted person in me was so happy. Like, oh my god, it's not crowded. It's really nice. But at the same time, I was really sad because this pandemic is affecting people's, not just their lives, their livelihoods. Like, everything is canceled. You can't do anything anymore. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I noticed a lot of emptiness on the streets. I have not set foot on campus the entire first half of COVID. I know people did go to campus for the library, but even the library would shut down sometimes on some days. I heard people say that our building was empty, completely empty, except for like one person who would go to the office and work and then leave, and that's it. So, yep, that's my near campus experience.
And so when you talk about it being empty and you talk about dorms being empty, how has that affected students' mental health? And they're even like, because obviously mental health is not very talked about in Korea, but have, how students cope with this? Because some students, part of college is going and meeting people and forging relationships. And then if you can't do that and you're stuck at home or stuck in a dorm room, almost like a prison cell, it must have taken a toll. How have students dealt with that?
I think for the first wave of the COVID, everyone was scared. So they were staying in voluntarily. They did not want to go out. But when that went on for 2, 3, 4 months, people got tired. Very tired.
It becomes physically exhausting.
Yeah, it's taxing. Like, I can stay in and play games all day.
I did invest in a Switch. So
Yeah.
that was good.
I once stayed up like 24 hours playing something. So, I can do that. But even for me, it was hard. Because sometimes you just want to go out and meet people, but there's nothing you can do. And it just drives you nuts. I'm not sure how other people felt, but for myself, it was always a conflict of should I be socially responsible and not go out? Do I be selfish and meet people? Yeah, it was always that, and our school has forums, and I always see people debating about that. There would be someone saying, "Oh, this is mentally taxing. I want to go out and meet new people. Why can we not do that if we wear masks?" And there's other group of people that say, "Oh, don't be selfish. We're
all in this together.
all in this together. You gotta look out not just for yourself, but for other people." I mostly just watched it burn.
Yeah. I feel, how about Yonsei?
What about Yonsei?
Now, how about Yonsei? Has Yonsei helped how the students dealt with it mentally, especially because with the GSA or GSIS program, it is roughly 50% international students.
True.
So they come to Korea and then
they can't Korea.
You're stuck at home. You can't go to anything. All the Yonggojeon's canceled.
Actually, from what I heard during the last semester, I think all of the students who came from the States got requested back to the States.
Really?
Like, the government told them, you have to come back. That's what I heard, because, after the first 3-4 days of school, when it started, all of the American students just went back home. They were like, we can't stay. Our government is telling us to come back. So even though the dorms were empty, they became even more empty because all the American students had to go back. So I don't know about what they did when they went back. But for the people who stayed, I think they just had mixers within the dorm. So in each floor in the dorm, there's a little lounge area where people can just sit there. I know that our dorms told people not to visit different floors.
Yeah.
If you're on this floor, then this is where you just have to stay. So if you interact with people, you interact with the people on your floor only. That's what I know. So I think it was a little easier for people in the dorms because they had other people to meet, people they didn't know. They had a little TV where they could just plug in their computers and watch TV and have movie nights. For me and my friends who do not live in the dorms, I can deal. I can be alone. I'm fine. My house was very spotless. for the whole first half of COVID, I started coming up with very creative ways of doing stuff. So I can keep myself busy. So, and other people are just so bored and they just Netflix the whole time. And yes, I did subscribe to Netflix.
It's Netflix without the chillin', which is, what's the point? But I'm going to say this much right now.
But
If Americans
still.
got told by the government to come back, I'm going to look at this camera. I never got told by the government to come back. So if the U.S. government was saying, hey, y'all, come back, I never got a communication. So I'm a little worried now.
Did they forget about you?
Probably. But,
so, yeah. I invested in a Switch, so I started...
Yeah.
I played a lot of Zelda.
Zelda. Animal Crossing?
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan, actually. It's not me. My sister told me to get it so she can play Animal Crossing. I'm like, okay, fine. What else did I do?
What did you do?
Well, so actually it's interesting because like when you mentioned like your dorms had like their own little like first floor, second floor, third floor, corner, almost like communities that are together. I don't know if that was the same.
Yeah, mine doesn't.
Oh.
Mine doesn't. It's kind of like what this apartment looks like. So there are little rooms and there's no common area where you can go to. We had like a cafe downstairs for all the exchange students, I think. But of course they closed that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I used to work at Yukusa, Yukunsakon Hakyo, before I worked with AFI. And I was working there until March. And right at the start, they closed the campus to everyone. You couldn't get delivery. Students couldn't leave.
Oh, no. Not even delivery?
Yeah.
People lived on delivery.
So how would you feel about, do you think your campuses would ever do that? Like if you're a student, you can literally function in your own microcosm. Like you don't have to wear masks because we lock you from the outside. Like you can't leave for the whole semester. How about that? Do you think that's a feasible option for universities to function at a 90% normal?
But they'd only apply to students living in the dorms.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, there would have to be like specific exceptions if students lived off campus or subsidized housing somewhere on campus for students, because sometimes housing off campus is cheaper.
Yeah.
But I was just curious, like, do you think that's a possible solution for your universities to say all the students come, we can have our gyms, our pools, everything open, but you cannot leave campus for 1 year or one semester wholly. Like you can't go out, you can't go see family.
You can have a normal college experience, but you cannot leave campus.
Yes. Do you think that's a viable solution or potential solution?
I mean, I think our school could do that. People could live without deliveries because, I mean, we do have restaurants on campus. We have pyeongnijeons on campus and the dorms have kitchens, so you can, but it's gonna be exhausting very fast.
Yeah. Not to mention not being able to go out on weekends.
But then again, like the campus is huge. I don't know about Konkuk University, but like the campus in general is really big. So you can, if you have the whole campus to yourself, it's fine. You can just go anywhere on campus. We have several cafes. Does that mean even cafes don't get their deliveries? Because
no, I mean, like obviously, like food would have to come into campus. Maybe you guys can get like grocery deliveries that have to go like a sanitation procedure.
then yeah, then all,
Like, I
our
don't see-
campus can definitely survive if they could like. I'm pretty sure people want
My campus is in the middle of a pretty bustling neighborhood, so I just don't think it'd be feasible for school our size. And campus is pretty small too. I mean, there's only a handful of cafes.